Good Friday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel. See right there, Ice Age TV. That's what you're watching, and it's all about the cars and trucks, motorcycles, SUVs, dogs, daughter, property, attitudes, addictions. Good morning there. It's Friday. The weekend of Labor Day weekend. The Labor Day weekend. What is that all about, right? That's what my kid actually asked me yesterday. Hey, Dad, what is Labor Day all about? But anyways, what a beautiful Friday. Oh my gosh. Just an incredibly cool and perfect weather, motorcycle weather. I mean, this is Indian riding motorcycle. I mean, wow. Harley too. Honda, Kawasaki, whatever, any motorcycle, just incredibly beautiful. I mean, you could have asked Friday to start the weekend for the recognition of all of our fruits of labor, that you can see all the fruits of my labor, or all these freaking vehicles. Yeah, it's Labor Day. Labor Day is all about Congress in 1894 wanted to recognize the hard work of people in this country, and they wanted to give them a day off. So the first Monday of every September of every year, Congress passed the law that people shall have a laborless day. But does that actually work anymore? I don't think so. How many people work on Labor Day, right? But that was actually the whole idea, was to recognize the people that work hard, and for those that are out there that, oh, it's always about the technology. It's a never-ending challenge. I mean, my phone just cut off from a software update. So where did I leave off? Talking about the labor, the fruits of our labor. And yeah, many that watch my channel wonder, wow, fruits of your labor, what the hell do you do? That's the most common thing I hear in my comments in my YouTube channel is, what do you do? What do you do? How do you have all these things? Yeah, well, I think I'm one of the few that share all the things, not being a personality or some big entertainer, and I resisted that for years, just for the record. I just didn't want to be the guy that shares all, but I've ended up sharing all. So anyways, so what is going on today? I figured, hey, let's talk about the fruits of our labor. Should we talk about that? Should we talk about the true beginnings of like Indian, from George Hendy, who who actually bought out a bankrupt bicycle manufacturer, George Hendy, the original founder of Indian Motorcycles. And yeah, I thought that it could be a good conversation about labor and Indian motorcycles and other good things. So it's the Labor Day, because who here hasn't slaved through their life to try to make their life better, right? So here's the first thing. I finally got all my motorcycles covered. And it's kind of a cool thing, but it's also kind of a drag thing, because you can't see the bikes anymore, which I do like these clear covers over here, but it's designed more for the, it's actually designed more for cars. Got those clear covers laying on the ground over there, so they're big. But now I got the Tourmaster Journey indoor car, or indoor motorcycle cover, and wow, these things are very inexpensive. So anybody out there in the market that wants to get yourself a nice indoor motorcycle cover, look at this here, $27.99, and then there are things like $25.99. So it depends on what size you get, but they're not that expensive. $29.99, and then it's like $25.99. So these things are great. It's a Tourmaster Journey indoor motorcycle cover. So now all my motorcycles are covered up from all the dust and dirt that constantly get on anything that's parked in my shop here. It's really neat. But then at the same time, I don't see the art. I don't see my art. You know, this is my art of my life. My addiction to having to have all these fancy motorcycles and cars and trucks. And look at the Dodge Charger here. Wow. The Dodge Charger is right now the #1 stolen vehicle in the country, especially the Hellcat. From 2021, 2022, the numbers have skyrocketed. And I know that because I had one of my Hellcat Chargers stolen. Whether you realize it or not, I had my white Dodge Charger that I traded in at Coons Baltimore Ford stolen back in the summer, I believe, of 2021. I believe that's when that happened. So I understand. I know that. For me, I would drive that vehicle and just leave it in a general area. There's no way. There's no way. And actually, I've been leaving it kind of outside a lot lately. That's a big no-no. So I kind of try to park things. It would be a little more challenging. So, but everything's stealable, if you understand that. So anyways, so just thinking about the fruits of our labor, what you own, what you have, your passions, and what is going on here. The dogs. Come on, pups. Let's go. Get up here. Got a late start today. Come on, pups. Just never-ending projects. Cutting the grass, too. I mean, Jesus Christ. We freaking cut the grass. Yesterday, it just doesn't stop. But my creek is so low. You can definitely see the water around the pond. Everything's very low. We are in drought conditions. My little puppy, German Shepherd, just likes to destroy everything. I don't need the air conditioner on. I don't need the fan on. I need to sit down here and get the day going. And yeah, so I just thought it was kind of intriguing to think about the hard work of others that have created the love for us. And if you think about William S. Harley, the founder of Harley-Davidson, and George Hendy, the founder of Indian Motorcycles, wow. I mean, think about what they did for the passion of motorcycles. What's interesting is actually Mr. Peugeot in Europe was actually the first official motorcycle manufacturer in 1898. And of course, we know that the Indian Motorcycles heritage comes from Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts of 1901. And then we've got, the Milwaukee guy of 1903. Is that correct? So, interesting how Harley just back-to-back. Harley couldn't outdo Hendy on his production motorcycle. So, George Hendy was a big-time bicycle racer, and he owned the Hendy, HENDEE, bicycle manufacturing of 1898, where he bought out a bankrupt company and created his own bicycle manufacturing, and then he evolved into the Indian. And it's interesting, he first initially named the Indian American Indian, but then for trade reasons, he felt that the Indian name was better recognized and I guess appreciates, for export reasons, he changed the name to Indian, which is kind of interesting. And what's really interesting is back in the early 1900s, they sold up to like 32,000 motorcycles in 1 year. Wow. They went from selling like 500 motorcycles to like, 30 plus thousand motorcycles. I mean, that's pretty impressive for that early of the 1900s. And as we all know, Harley, in some ways, circumvented, you could say, but not totally, because India went through a lot of transition. George Hendy eventually walked away from the company. DuPont bought him out. A lot of inner turmoil of the company, and it created the divisions of the company. And then eventually the company, I think in the 50s, went bankrupt because Harley-Davidson was smart. They got all the big military contracts to provide motorcycles to the military, and Harley prevailed, but for only so long. I mean, for the most part, Harley back in the 70s was in bankruptcy position until AMF. AMF, and that's something. What a name. Would that even be allowed? You know what that means? Audios, MFer, you know what I mean? So AMF, and that stuff was junk. Yeah, what was even the abbreviation? American made, fix it again stuff? I mean, who would buy one of Harley Davidson back in that era? I wouldn't. I remember seeing those freaking dirt bikes come out. Junk beyond junk. Yeah, I was the Yamaha guy. And so, yeah, the fruits of George's labor from his true beginnings all came to an end. But I think he died before that happened. So I think he was born like in 1860 and died in like 1944 or something. But there's so much information trying to retain all this instead of, unless you're just addicted to just reading the history of these individuals and companies. And it's just for me, I have so many different brands of products and cars and toys and da 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 da. And yeah, so I mean, it just doesn't end on me trying to keep abreast of what is what and what is this. And so, but what intrigued me on this Indian conversation as well is I was down at the Indian dealer yesterday, and it's incredible what's going on. So I was down there, and come to find out that Indian, we realize or not, Indian has been challenged by the Indian tribes, the Native Americans, that they in some ways feel like they're being abused, that Indian name has been used, and they're in some ways not benefiting from that, and they would, in many ways, like to see the Indian motorcycle name no longer exist. Unless, I guess, Indian pays them a lot of money or something. I mean, it's kind of an ongoing. In India, Polaris Industries has been very trying to be diplomatic and reach out to the Indian community and try to see what makes sense without having to remove the recognized name Indian. And this has been going on for years. So this isn't anything new. It's just like the Washington Redskins. At some point, Dan Snyder, the worst freaking owner in modern times in my eyes of a freaking football team that, thank God, finally got exported out of town and sold the team. But they were hammered on for years to get rid of the Redskins names, icons, the headdress. And so eventually now it's called the Washington Commanders. So in so many ways, there's other individuals in the country that are trying to force Indians to do the same thing, to remove the name from the motorcycle line. Which, wow, just to me, it's like, wow, really? I mean, as an Indian person, you feel that the Indian motorcycle is a disgrace? I mean, where we are in today's society, of how people process information, I'm just befuddled. That you think that, the Indian name, which I think is such a cool name, and the Indian tribes and the chief, I mean, these are people that I think so many, recognized and felt these were very unique, special people. And it's just the heritage of the country. And I can understand the Indians being mad at the white man for what he did to him. But at the same time, the Indian name to me has always been recognized as a very great product, especially from the true beginnings. It's the true beginnings of the motorcycle riding of this country. And you want to take that away? So, but the reason I'm saying this is I was downstairs and I had those Indian rugs with the headdress of the icon of the Indian person. And I'll probably show it to you here on my phone. And the owner of the dealership yesterday was telling me that they are having to take up their carpets. Let's see here, image. See if I can get that for you. And so it's just like, wow. So the Indian headdress image that's on carpets, they have to get these carpets off the floor. You cannot step on the Indian headdress. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is just, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, in some ways, I'm going to try and get here, Indian headdress image, motorcycles. Let's see if that does any, because it's a better real deal what it looks like. It just doesn't want to give it to me. I'm going to take all morning to show you a freaking, but basically it's this right here. Okay, so here it is. I'm sure people know what I'm speaking of, but anyways, the whole point is that they're having to remove their carpets, and it's a disgrace. If like downstairs, I meant to show you, if I'm standing on the headdress of an Indian's on my carpet, I'm a disgrace to the Indian community. I've got Indian. I mean, I need to take that carpet and hang it up against the wall of my barn. I need to remove that thing from stepping on it. Wow. Wow, who would have known? So this is real stuff. So for the Indian dealerships out there, they have to get all of their carpets off the floor. And as I said, it was me, and I had the right amount of room in the showroom. I would just then hang up the carpet on the wall. Who knows? So yeah. All right. So anyway, so talking about the Labor Day weekend and what's going on in the automotive world. Well, as we know, what's going on in the automotive world is the UAW. So this is the latest. I mean, this is up to date information. The UAW is not happy whatsoever. So apparently, Ford has come back to Sean Feen's demands of the 46%. He wants his union members, 144,000 of them, to over a 4-year agreement to have a step-by-step pay increase of up to 46% of the pay. And he wants the 3-day, 32-hour per week work schedule. And he wants the guaranteed electric vehicle manufacturing transition guaranteed. And he wants better better benefits and better working conditions. So this is Sean Feen that says that his 144,000 members are all right there with him, and they're going to stay strong as can be. So the comments right now are Ford responded, Stellantis and General Motors have not responded. And so Ford responded, and Sean Feen took the piece of the contract and crumpled it up and threw it in the trash can. Because Ford responded with a 6%, 7% raise and some other, working conditions. So Sean Feen's like, "Ugh." And so for GM and Stellantis, they feel like the demands and the accusations that they're making towards their companies is really rather radical. And so what's unique about this for the first time, but I shouldn't say the first time, but what's unique about this, does the union get together and idle all big three? So many suspect that they will just target like one company. So they may just target GM. So the Ford union and the Stellantis union will just continue to work while GM's idled. And GM's then bugging Stellantis and Ford to get their act together to frickin' get this negotiation done. So others speculate this could. It's early in the morning trying to get the day going, and it's Friday morning. Wow, it's Friday morning. Friday. The others speculate that this could cost up to $5 billion in harm to the big three if they don't come to the table to get this resolved. So it's coming down to, what's today? I can't even keep track. What is today? The 1st. Hello, right? Yeah, so they're now down to 14 days. September 14th is the actual deadline for the existing contract to expire. So, and I talked about it yesterday, or the day before, whenever. So the labor of all of these union guys and gals are apparently so riled up that they feel like they've been mistreated in so many ways that they're demanding to be treated better. And what better way to celebrate that than Labor Day weekend, right? And then, like I said before, if this plays out, many analysts say they are so far away on what this new union president is demanding versus reality. And then for the big three know that the China-made electric vehicle is, happening big time. BYD and other manufacturers are now setting record sales throughout the world, and they have cheap labor. They know they're up against Tesla, who's manufacturing cars in China that has cheap labor. So they all know that boy, oh boy, if this union gets a stronghold on these guys, there's no way they're going to compete in this future of the EV market. Maybe we should all be happy about that, right? So, and I talked about that with the big IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, on how that's feeding all these infrastructure, these brand new manufacturing facilities. I haven't drank much water at all. They may drink more water than coffee this morning. Just kind of coughed up this morning. Yeah, geez, what's going on, right? So, anyways, the fruits of our labor, for anybody here watching the channel, we all work hard And that's the most common thing that people ask my channel is, what do you do? What do you do? And I just myself, I'm not here by any means to make me look like I'm better than you. That just isn't what I want my channel to be. I think people are far better than me. I mean, I think people are far smarter than me because I'm the guy that just goes out and spends all his freaking money buying these freaking toys and addictions. And I mean, sincerely, there's others out there that have far better wealth than I do because they've managed their money far better than me. So if anybody here thinks this is all about me and I'm so special, that isn't what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm just sharing how crazy I am, and you're probably better off not trying to be who I am. You'll probably be far better off financially because this is a very expensive habit. But the point is, out of high school, I worked 6 days a week. Out of high school, I worked in the auto parts industry, and I worked 6 days a week. From there, I went into the driving trucks and working in the fuel industry, and I worked pretty much 6 days a week. And then I went into the transition from managing a company to going into sales. To be able to support my commission sales, I had to drive trucks on the weekend in the fuel industry to compensate for my trying to grow my commission-only sales capabilities at a very young age. So I worked 7 days a week. And then out of the oil industry into the early 90s, I transitioned into being a network marketing company where I worked my tail off for basically a year and a half to make really no money, but I had to work 7 days a week. And I traveled a lot. And then I got into the public telephone business where I created my own company. And to do that, I had to work 7 days a week. And up into, it really wasn't, you're talking from 96 through really 2017 is before I really finally broke away from working 7 days a week. And I used to take care of these two properties here that you see me walk around. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I did nothing. I didn't own motorcycles back in those earlier days. It wasn't until 2012 I bought my first street motorcycle. So I just worked all the time. That's all I ever did. I didn't go anywhere. And that's what some people are calling me out, and you wasted your money and you threw away your money trading your two Harleys for that new CVO. Yeah, you took a loss. I'm thinking, yeah, but I know so many people that go on $5,000, $10,000 vacations. Who doesn't go do the Airbnb on a regular basis? Who doesn't who doesn't go gamble? Who doesn't have the season tickets for some baseball or football team? You can start going through the list of things. Who doesn't have the boat? Who doesn't have the RV? Who doesn't have the the camping addictions? You can just start going through the list of where, per se, you can say, well, that's just a waste of money, where you spend thousands and thousands of dollars of doing things. And then it gets deep and heavy when you start talking about, I have personal friends that I know of that have cheated on their wives and they've lost half their wealth or more. And I'm talking about millions of dollars. I've worked for people that have had these challenges where they want to have a girlfriend. Girlfriends don't like wives and wives don't like girlfriends. So I've witnessed people just lose $1 million, $2 million. So the list goes on and on and on. So for me, it's not to make excuses, but yeah, I go out and yeah, sure. Do I take a loss on me buying something and buying something else? Yeah. But do I go travel on these lavish vacations? I don't. Do I go gambling? I don't. Do I go to sporting events? I don't. I have a very mundane lifestyle besides my addictions to the motorhead. I'm just a motorhead guy. My where I get satisfaction out of, satisfied is the enjoyment of driving around on my motorcycles and cars and trucks and working on them, and the list goes on and on and on. So just, but I was like, yeah, whatever. It turns into lengthy comments and yeah, whatever. Okay, so what's your challenge, right? Yeah. So now for us, we've witnessed here since the 2020 uniqueness of our country and the world of the labor challenges. And hey, come on, stop it. And what better conversation, if you think about it, with Labor Day here upon us, that what has been the most dominant conversation in this country and worldwide besides the challenge of labor? And that's all we've heard for 3 years is the ongoing challenge of labor that then gives the excuse for somebody to say, well, I can't get that job done, labor issues. Well, that's more expensive because labor issues. Oh, you're waiting in line so long, labor issues. You went to the restaurant, you're not happy with the service, labor issues. Yeah, the people here, why don't we have more people here? I can't afford to pay more people here. The new laws and labor laws of what it's required to pay these people. The list goes on and on and on. That, what are we facing more than ever? It's the labor challenges. And the other thing is we are seeing the separation of people that want to work. That there's so many people that feel that they need to be able to sit at home and punch a keyboard and make their big income. I mean, so it can get deep and heavy, which I'm not going to do that. But the whole point is, here we have Labor Day weekend, and anymore, I mean, is it the same as it was? I mean, is anybody's heart bleeding for the people that no longer have to commute to work and they can remotely work from home and have a much nicer lifestyle? And I'm not here being critical of anybody. I'm just saying, anymore, the dynamics have so changed the model of where we are in today's society with labor. And I just think to myself, it's really incredible on how the existing individuals in this country and world, especially the green agenda people, they think they know how things play out in the end, and they don't. I can take an example here of this. I've talked about it many times, the metro area, of them building major metro rail out in this area that I live in that nobody uses. Because nobody thought to themselves 10 years ago when they were getting ready to engineer this stuff and get all the money riled up to do this stuff, round it up, did they think to themselves, well, what happens if the evolution of mankind transitions to a whole different way of how things are done with business and how computers overtake the capability to remotely work? How Amazon can have 100 deliveries in their van and people don't need to drive to Home Depot or the store to Walmart or whatever the place they need to go, and the van will deliver this where they don't need to drive their car. And I just think it's incredible on how more than ever the ice age and the transportation sector is getting hammered like never seen for these mandates to get these ice vehicles out of their lives for them to be happy. And I just think, wow, but as the future progresses and with artificial intelligence and so many things going on, what's really going to be the real model of the infrastructure of the transportation as it evolves? I mean, I think in so many ways that it's going to be less people traveling just because of all the technology that's coming to us. I just think that at some point it's going to reverse itself, because I think the remote working is going to grow, even though it's been kind of hammered and they're bringing a lot of people back to offices, but there's still a lot of people remotely work. And there's a lot of people that have to be into work 3 days instead of 5 days. There's just a lot of variables that are starting to play out. And then I think to myself, here's what's going on in the labor market. It's like the hush. There's many jobs being eliminated, and people aren't per se being laid off, but they're being transferred to a different position that in so many aspects the person raises their hand and then they don't want to work there anymore. So whether you realize it or not, that is something supposedly from what you read about is what's happening in the job force now. There's been a lot of IT people and, the white collar people supposedly have lost jobs more so than the blue collar people. But what they're saying is the trick of the companies now is how they're just making a person's job a different job that they're not going to like, and they just raise their hand and leave. And the running joke for me at these car dealerships always has been, I witness these different people that get transferred and positioned. It could be a car dealership, motorcycle dealership, whatever it may be. And it's classic how they're in this one position, then they're moved to another position, and they're moved to another position. And the position they get eventually is near the front door. And I tell them, when you're next to that front door, that's what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to get you to leave the dealership. Who hasn't seen this, right? So, yeah. So here's an interesting story with Elon Musk, with his fruits of labor. The guy apparently is just a labor addict where he just works nonstop. And the pursuit of buying Twitter. And here's the thing: if you watch my video from last fall, I hammered on how Elon Musk, this is anything that I think somebody else here watching my channel is like, yeah, I know that. So it isn't like, oh, I'm telling you something you don't know, but it's just to talk about it among ourselves. I hammered on how Elon Musk is buying Twitter for the information side. He wants all the information that he can gather up and just really help propel his artificial intelligence. That's what I think, even though the new disclosure of him now sharing your data and everything else in so many aspects helps him to market the company for advertisers to want to participate and give him money to be on that X platform, which used to be Twitter. But at the same time, I think also it's him collecting data to help his artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence is watching the facial recognition. It's watching the way people talk and hearing. So remember I was saying the other day that artificial intelligence isn't per se told what to do, it's being shown what to do. So wow. So but here's the thing. So apparently with Elon Musk, with Twitter, he witnessed how in his eyes it became woke. So woke that it was disturbing to him. But even more so, the story is one of his kids, he has like 10 kids, I guess. That's the X. The X, it's a numerical number of 10. And so he apparently has a child, and that individual transgendered on him. And it just really upset him to the point he just saw what this social media machine is doing to the younger generation. And he just felt so strongly that somebody needs to step in and take control of this social media wokeness, that's why he pursued Twitter. And that's why initially he didn't really want to buy Twitter, but he and his brother and others evaluated them creating their own social platform. But Elon Musk got so caught up in the different personalities and actors of Twitter that were brought in that I guess in so many ways he just wanted to outdo them and take over Twitter. And even to the point that his initial evaluation and offering for Twitter, he felt was overrated because he didn't realize there were so many fake accounts. And then it turned into a lawsuit by the board of Twitter for demanding him come to the table and pay what he's going to pay. And for Elon Musk and the attorneys, they came to closure that he's not going to win that case in court, and he's just going to have to suck it up buttercup and come to the table. But here's what's interesting. The two key president, executives, the key individuals for Twitter at the time, he undermined them in their labor compensation. It's a classic story. It's an incredible story I never knew about. So apparently Elon Musk had a Friday deadline of buying that company last fall. I guess was the timeline when he did that, or whenever this all happened. I just can't keep track of all the dates. But anyways, he intentionally goofed up the time frame to have the deal go down. At the last minute, he extended the deadline for them to close on the deal. And unbeknownst to these key executives that had prepared email resignation letters right before he's going to sell it, so they'd be compensated possibly hundreds of millions of dollars for their resigning from the company, he shut down their email accounts. So it was a perfect timing of him settling on the company so that within minutes of these people trying to send the email to say they resigned, they couldn't do it. So the company's books were closed. He was the new owner, and they had no capability of resigning from the company. And so right after he finalized the purchase of the company, he fired both of them. Good old Elon. You got to give Elon Musk credit for this guy. Oh, my gosh. But, there's so many things that Elon, it's just, he's always up to something. And so for me, Elon, I give him credit, for what he does and accomplishes. But at the same time, you just always have this feeling that he's just up to something that in the end, you're not going to benefit from. And I just think on this X platform now, there's so much stuff on there and how that kind of plays out. But I give him credit for stepping up to the plate. But here's the thing. Now Elon is such the focal point of the sitting party to be, and many that are really going to, you're going to see more about Elon Musk being attacked more than ever, because he has so exposed, and he's trying to expose in so many ways. But I'm sure some will agree that he doesn't expose all, but he's trying to expose better than other media and social media platforms of the real deal of what's going on among us and around us. And now other individuals don't like this, and they're trying to shut him down. Oh yeah, if you really start, I can about guarantee you that the punching bag's going to be Elon Musk more than ever before because of what he's accomplishing through X. And I just think that, wow, you're going to start to see the media machines start to convince you to hate Elon Musk and to start making him look like he's a recluse and he's a danger to society. That's where it's all going to start to play out. And then people will start taking sides. And, oh, yeah, X is a terror. I mean, have we witnessed this before? You know, do I even have to mention a name of a person that was targeted more than anybody in modern times because of the views and ideas that this person wanted to try to put? And in so many ways, the media machine is so accomplished with so many to hate this individual through the constant 24/7 bashing of this individual. Meanwhile, yeah, who's sitting in office, right? Who is sitting in office? Does anybody really know? Isn't it amazing how the Obamas are so off the radar screen for the most part? I mean, sincerely, do you ever see really any pictures of where their house is? I mean, it just seems like, yeah, right, Yeah, but anyways, all right, we'll leave it at that. It's Labor Day weekend. Hope everybody has a great weekend. They can enjoy their fruits of their labor, and they don't have to work on Monday. But yeah, right. I'm sure many here watch my channel, like, yeah, right. My company doesn't recognize Labor Day weekend. It is a Labor Day. That's what it is for me. So for me, yeah, it would be really cool to be down in Tennessee riding some motorcycles and doing some pretty cool things. But, oh, I have a business to run, and yeah. And so do I have the privilege to do that? I'm slammed in all reality. I have so many projects to do. So anyways, thanks for watching my channel. Appreciate all the nice comments and support. And yeah, there's always, there's probably one other thing I need to talk about, but I think I've already talked about it. But just so much information, just constant. I'll figure it out another time and talk about another day. So hey, if you got a motorcycle, I hope you can go motorcycle riding and enjoy this beautiful weather. If you live in this area, beautiful day to go riding. But the only downside is it's the craziness of the Friday, Labor Day traffic. And that is one thing I do want to talk about. I know it's a little longer video, but oh my gosh, I'll have to go into more depth in another video about it. But the drivers around here, the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime. I have to make a video all about that another day. So everybody, thanks for watching. God bless. Stay safe. And God bless. And I got to go to work. Have a great day.